back to First Watch, the series on my channel where I watch something that's been out for a while and yet I've never seen it before. This used to be a weekly thing on my channel, which very much like the Cinematic Shuffle was randomly selected week after week, but I found it pretty darn difficult to keep up with. But I still had the list, and one night my wife was just like, hey, let's watch When Harry Met Sally, and knowing that movie was on that list of First Watch films, I was like, yes, let's do it, and let's get cracking. When Harry Met Sally is a romantic dramedy about a guy named Harry that meets a gal named Sally, obviously, and the path that they go on in life, starting with kind of despising each other a little bit, to becoming okay acquaintances, to becoming close friends, and obviously, as it is a romance, more of a romantic relationship type of thing. If I could tell you why I've avoided this film my entire life, I would, but I honestly have no idea why. Maybe because it's a romance film, maybe because it's almost as old as I am, maybe it's a mixture of the two. Maybe it's because I can't really take Billy Crystal all that seriously. I have absolutely no idea, but to be honest with you, I am glad that I did wait, because had I watched this when I was younger, I would have probably hated it, not being able to fully appreciate it for what it is. This is definitely a film that is meant for older, wiser, maybe more mature adults. Not because the film is adult-themed, ooh, but rather because it's adult-themed in the sense that it is real. You know, it deals with actual things that adults deal with, that younger audiences would think is extremely boring. And yet, most of the things these characters talk about in the film are dealt with incredibly honestly. And that's a good thing, because this film is all about dialogue. Very much like the Before trilogy that came out not too long after this film, where it's essentially a long-winded conversation from beginning to end. The difference being, the Before trilogy seems to be basically real-time. If the movie is an hour and 45 minutes long, they're literally talking for an hour and 45 minutes without any real break. While this film takes place between several years, and you see these characters grow both physically, emotionally, and mentally, and you see these conversations literally mature at the same time. It's like the entire Before trilogy rolled into one movie, which is almost equally as impressive given the fact that whatever they were doing with clothing, hairstyles, and makeup, I actually believe that these characters were getting older. One thing that you really want for a film like this is for there to be believable chemistry, which I was quite surprised to find these two definitely had great chemistry, which was even better when you see that that chemistry naturally and organically evolved over time. It also did something really bold, something that I've never really seen a romance film do before, and it builds up to a point where they never really did anything romantic before, and then they do, obviously, it's romance, but what I didn't expect is that they made that moment awkward. If I know anything about romance, that's like one thing you don't ever want to do, and yet it was insanely smart to do at the same time, because they needed to break through that wall. It needed to showcase their relationship as something more than friendly somehow, and for it not to feel forced or rushed, which is something that romance films often have a problem with. And making that moment awkward actually helped the movie feel more natural when after that awkward moment occurred, these two couldn't really avoid the fact that they're meant to be together anyway. They can't stop thinking about each other, and they have to deal with that. It's just one of the few examples of a romance film figuring out how to do things right. Also, not only is the choice of dialogue smart, like the Before trilogy, but so too is the editing. There's a very, very impressive scene in this film where 4 people are talking at the same exact time, and the choreography of these quickly shot lines is insane.
You guys belong together.
It's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
It's like 2 wrongs make a right.
How was it?
The during part was good,
I thought it was good.
but then I felt suffocated.
Then I guess it wasn't.
Jesus, I'm sorry.
The
I
worst.
had to get out of there.
He just disappeared.
I feel so bad.
I'm so embarrassed.
I don't blame you.
That's
I
horrible.
think I'm coming down with
I
something.
think I'm catching a cold.
Look, it would have been great if it worked out, but it didn't.
I should never go to bed with anyone when you found out your last boyfriend is getting married.
Who's that talking?
Is that Jess on the phone?
It's Jane Fonda on the VCR.
It's Brian Gumbel.
Do
you want to come over for breakfast?
Now I know that that had to take forever to get that perfectly right. Another thing is that even though this is my first time watching the movie all around, there were so many moments that felt instantly iconic, classic, and memorable, so I gotta admit, that was great. Overall, I rated When Harry Met Sally an A- letter grade, final overall score of 88%. 88 out of 100 possible stars. I think that overall, When it comes down to dialogue-heavy films that flow like this, my personal favorite is probably going to remain Something in the Before trilogy, which I still have to see that third movie, by the way. But on its own, this movie really surprised me. But what about you guys, though? Have you seen When Harry Met Sally? Let me know. And let me know if you prefer it over the Before trilogy. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.